In this example, a supermarket wants to test the delivery of avocados for ripeness by cutting them in half. A suggests a reason why the supermarket should not test all the avocados in the delivery. The supermarket tests a sample of 5 avocados and finds that 4 of them are ripe. They estimate that 80% of the avocados in the delivery are ripe. B suggests one way that the supermarket could improve their estimate. So in the scenario, we're looking at populations and samples. So in the first part, we need to suggest a reason why the supermarket should not test all of avocados. And testing all the avocados would mean that there will be none left to sell. So it's not the right approach to take in this scenario. Now, in terms of suggesting a way that a supermarket could improve their estimate, then in this scenario we could take a larger sum. For example, 10 avocados. This would give a better estimate of the overall proportion of raw avocado. So this will be the better approach in terms of taking a larger sum. And this will be our answer for this question. In this example, we look at a school uses a sensor to investigate the dietary requirements of its students. First, we need to explain what is meant by a census, and then we'll look at part B. So for part A census observes or measures every member of a population. On the right hand side, we have more details in terms of what a census means and how it compares to a sample. And in part B for this question, we need to give one advantage and one disadvantage to the school of using a census. Now, in this scenario, an advantage it will give a completely accurate result. A disadvantage, it could be one of the below. It could be time consuming, it could be expensive for the school, and it could be a difficult process it will be difficult for the school to process all the data. So these are some of the disadvantages, and the advantage that will give a completely accurate process for the data requirements for the office student. And this will be our answer for this question. In this example, a factory makes safety harness for climbers and has an order to supply 3,000 harnesses. The buyer wishes to know that the load at which the harness breaks exceeds a certain figure. A suggests a reason why a census would not be used for this purpose. Now, the factory tests 4 harnesses, and the load for breaking is recorded approximately either for the test. So there are 4 tests. The first 320 kilograms, the second one 260, the third test is 240 kilograms, the fourth is 180 kilograms. So first, in terms what we would suggest a reason why a census would not be the best approach to use for this purpose. The testing process will destroy all the harness. So a census would mean that we would test all the harnesses. It means that there would be no harnesses left for climbers to use. Censuses means that we have to test all the harnesses in this scenario. So it will not be the right approach to take in this scenario. For part B, the factory claims that the harnesses are safe for loads up to 250 kilograms. Use the sample data to comment on this claim. Now, the claim is misleading, as 250 kilograms is the mean and median load at which the harnesses in the sample break. So we would expect half of the harnesses to break at a load of less than 250 kilograms, and this will be our response to part B. For part C, we need to suggest one way in which the company can improve their prediction. Now, we can test a larger number of harnesses, but we would not use the census approach, as we'll take all the samples. So in this scenario, we will need to consider a larger number of samples, and this will be our answer for part C. In this example, a city council wants to know what people think about its recycling center. The council decides to carry out a sample survey to learn the opinion of residents. First, write down one reason why the council should not take a census. Now, in this scenario, it could be time consuming for the council, it could be expensive, and it could be difficult to process all the data. So census will not be the right approach to take in this scenario. For part B, suggest a suitable sampling frame. So in the scenario, a list of residents, so essentially taking a larger sample will be a better approach to take. Identify the sampling units for part C. Now, ideally, on each individual resident, understanding certain criteria, and then creating an appropriate sample or larger sample from the residents. And this will be in this scenario, when we want to know the units, it will be each individual residence. So this will be our answer for part C. In this example, a manufacturer of micro switches is testing the reliability of its switches. It uses a special machine to switch them on and off until they break. For part A, give one reason why the manufacturer should use a sample rather than sensors. The company tests a sample of 10 switches and obtains the following results: 23,150, 25,071, 19,480, 22,921, and 7,455. So for part A, the testing process will destroy all the switches. So sensors will destroy all the switches in this scenario, meaning that there would be no switches left to sell. So sensors will not be a good approach to take in this scenario. Now, for part B, the company claims that its switches can be destroyed and can be operated an average of 20,000 times without breaking. Use the sample data above to comment on this claim. Now, the mean, looking at the values by taking the mean of the values of the 5 tests, it will give us a mean of around 19,615.4, less than the stated average. One of the switches survived significantly fewer operations, which suggests that the median of 22,921 might be a better average to take, as it is not affected by outliers. The data therefore supports the company's claim. So this will be our response for part B, because we're looking at a higher range of above 20,000, and so the 22,000 is aligns with what we anticipate in terms of being a better average. And this will be our response for part B. For part C, we need to suggest one way the company could improve its prediction. Now, in this scenario, we will take a larger number or test a larger number of switches to improve the company proving its prediction. And this will be our answer for this question. In this example, a manager of a garage wants to know what their mechanics think about a new pension scheme designed for them. The manager decides to ask all the mechanics in the garage. A, describe the population the manager will use. Now, in this scenario, all the mechanics in the garage, so that would be the best approach in terms of asking all the mechanics and getting their opinion and feedback. Part B, writing down the main advantage and asking all of their mechanics. Now, in this scenario, everyone's views will be known, and possibly to get the best approach in terms of what would be the best approach to take forward for their pension schemes. And this will be the answer for this question. In this example, the 100 members of a art club are listed alphabetically in the club's membership book. The committee wants to select a sample of 12 members to fill in a questionnaire. Part A, explain how the committee could use a calculator or random number generator to take a simple random sample of the members. Now, in this scenario, allocate a number from 1 to 100 to each member of the art club. Use a calculator or random number generator to generate 12 random numbers, as we're interested in 12 numbers between 1 and 100, and then go back to the original population and select the people corresponding to these numbers. So that would be the approach to be suggested to the committee. Now, for part B, explain how the committee could use a lottery sample to take a simple random sample of the members. Now, in this scenario, it will be recommended to write all the names of the members on identical cards and place them into a hat or bowl and draw around 12 names to make up the sample of the members. And that will be the second approach to be suggested based on a lottery sample to the committee. And this will be the answer for this question. In this example, a factory manager wants to find out what his workers think about the factory canteen facilities. The manager decides to give a questionnaire to a sample of 80 workers. It is thought that different age groups will have different opinions. There are 75 workers between ages of 18 and 32, and there are 140 workers between 33 and 47. There are 85 workers between 48 and 62. So first, write down a name of the method of sampling the manager should use. So in this scenario, stratified sampling, as shown on the right hand side in terms of its benefits and disadvantages. However, in this scenario, it will be recommended to take that approach. In terms of part B, we're asked to explain how could we use this method to select a sample of workers' opinion. So first, there are 75 for the 18 to 32 ages, 140 between 33 and 47 ages, and 85 between 48 and 62. So we add all these values. That will give us around 300 workers altogether. Then we will take each range and we will take them as a percentage out of the total amount. So for the 18 and 32 will be 75 over 300 multiplied by 80, as we need to take a sample of 80. That will give us 20 workers. For the range of 33 and 47 years, it will have around 140 workers divided over 300, which is the total, and multiplied by 80, which is the sample. That would give us 37 and a third, or approximately 37 workers in this scenario. And then we would look at the range of 48 to 62. So we have 85 workers, and from the total, which is 300, and multiplied by the sample required, which is 80, that would give us approximately 23 workers. Now, in this scenario, number of workers in each age group use a random number table or generator to produce the required quantity of random numbers. Now, the questionnaire will give the questionnaire to the workers and corresponding to these numbers. So that'll be the recommended approach to take for this question, and this will be our answer. In this example, the head teacher of an infant school wishes to take a stratified sample of 20% of the pupils at the school. The school has the following number of pupils. For year 1 is 40, for year 2 is 60, for year 3 is 80. Work out how many pupils in each age group will be in the sample. Now, in this scenario, there are so we add all the numbers for each of the years. So we have year 1's 40 plus 60 for year 2 plus 80 for year 3. That will give us a total of 180 pupils. Then we look at the percentage. So we have 20%. So we take a 20% of each year. So for year 1 is 40 multiplied by 0.2. That will give us 8 pupils. For year 2 we have 60 multiplied by 20%. That will give us 12 pupils. And for year 3 we have 80, which will multiply by 20%. That will give us 16 pupils. Now, for part B, we need to describe one benefit to the head teacher of using a stratified sample. So in this scenario, we have some examples on the right hand side. So we can use any of the below. A stratified sample accurately reflects the population structure of the school, and a stratified sample guarantees proportional representation of different year groups in the sample. And this will be our answer for part B.